mean, we're getting all kinds of wacky stuff at the moment. We already covered the Louisiana bill that requires school classrooms to display the Ten Commandments, though I didn't see that during the signing of the bill, apparently a little girl behind the governor dies.
This bill mandates the display of the Ten Commandments in every classroom in public, elementary, secondary, and post-education schools in the state of Louisiana.
Okay.
Because if you want to respect the rule of law, you got to start from the original lawgiver, which was Moses. All right. That's right.
There's already an ACL lawsuit. Yeah, but it kind of doesn't matter, you know? So what? It's like, oh, it takes 2 years for the ACLU to push back against something so obviously unconstitutional that you know, that should have been like how long did it take them to draft that bill and throw it out there? In 5 minutes, you know? They didn't actually die, quote. They just passed out. Not defending the law, but how is it unconstitutional? Demanding public schools display the Ten Commandments violates the First Amendment. That Congress, no body should establish the religion or respect the establishment of a religion. Yeah, basic separation of church and state stuff. Is there an update on what happened to that girl? I mean, she just like passed out. I don't know. How do you convince someone that the Ten Commandments aren't comparable to pride flags in classroom? Anybody who would make that comparison is already just kind of cooked, to be honest, and like won't see heaven. Again, like, this is the issue. We're arguing positions that are so silly and so obviously incorrect that it feels like it's a waste of time to even attempt. What would, like, so a lot of these people understand that in law and in practice, we are a secular nation, but they lie and say that we're a Christian nation. And that, like, they're arguing from a delusional position. They're arguing from the belief that, like, God is the foundation of this country, and therefore, like, if you putting up the flag is, like, woke indoctrination / grooming, but putting up the Ten Commandments is just recognizing a fundamental principle of American governance. The problem with that is that, like, what are you going to do? Argue them out of being Christian? What do you, like, you know, argue them out of, like, how do you do that exactly? In a lot of cases, like, the debate, it's not even a matter of debate, it's a matter of power, okay? They just need to be disempowered. Arrested for sedition, for conspiracy to overthrow the government of the United States, for repeated violations of the constitutional rights of their constituents, whatever, you know, disempowered. Like, because what are you going to do? Argue with someone who thinks the fucking sky is purple? Like, come on. There are limits. Yeah, but Nikki Bugs, they don't care. That's the problem. Like, you can be smart about it, and you can be like, well, the government hasn't mandated the presence of pride flags in every classroom. It's done at the discretion of the teacher, and it's just you know, it's like there's no law that prevents or requires that or anything. It's just their choice. Meanwhile, this law mandates the appearance of the Ten Commandments in every classroom, which is clearly like an imposition of government power. But like, none of it, they don't care. All of that falls completely on deaf ears. Your time is probably much better spent like shaming them for being an authoritarian. Just say, like, you want big government to force every school to like bow to their will. Like, you want the government to impose religious tyranny on people. Accuse them of advocating for Christian Sharia law. You know, why not? Do that. In fact, literally, that's probably more effective than any correct argument. Just tell them you want Sharia law, but you're like, you want Christian Sharia law. Like, that's genuinely probably more effective than anything that you could do. That would be like an actual structured, regimented argument. You know, go for that. When they say no, of course not. Just call them a jihadist. Who cares? Who gives a fuck? Say they're just like the Ayatollah. Who cares? They don't know who that is. Well, some of them do. Say it anyway. Who cares? What if they say correct? I mean, at that point, you're dealing with somebody who, I mean, assuming that they're shameless enough to just openly admit that they want religious tyranny or whatever, you're not going to debate them in or out of anything at that point. You just start asking clarifying questions about the extent of their tyranny, right? They're like, yeah, actually, I do want the Christian version of Sharia law. And you're like, okay, so like, we're completely defying the will of the founding fathers and establishing like an American caliphate. All right, let's go with that. And then you like ask clarifying, do you think, would you ban like this? Would you have the government execute homosexuals? And like, depending on whether or not you have an audience, but anybody acting that way, saying that, probably does have an audience, because people don't usually say stuff like that unless they're trying to alpha male sigma their way through a debate, you know? Like when you ask a Nazi, so do you really want to do this clearly impossible thing? And they're like, yes, Chad face. And it's pure, it's because they grew up on 4chan and don't believe in anything. So they think that like the correctness of a position and how alpha it is directly proportionate to how hard you commit to the bit. Like they don't know what correct or incorrect means. They only know what committing to the bit or not committing to the bit means. These people are also a waste of time to talk to, but if it's any consolation, they've probably never gotten laid once in their entire lives, so you can, I don't know, they take some comfort from that. It's not irrational, nuts. At that point, you just have to make it clear to everyone else exactly how evil they are. Yeah, you can ask, like, hey, do you think that it's degeneracy to be, like, hold hands with a man in public? And they'd be like, yes. And you're like, okay, do you think the fact that you're wearing women's clothing that was, like, made for women in 1918 and has only been recently incorporated into, like, male clothing traditions, presumably by, like, a shadowy cabal of people looking to feminize you through your clothing choices, do you think that's degeneracy? Do you think you should be executed because you're wearing, I don't know, like, a t-shirt, which was originally, like, a deformation of, a women's pajamas? Or the fact that you're wearing, like, do you think it's, like, degeneracy for you to wear all that? Or like, do you think the fact that you use shampoo or whatever, and like you can just, I mean, it's reductio ad absurdum. You can run that down forever, but fundamentally the point is that it's kind of a waste of time to talk to these people. Their positions are nonsensical and they know it. They just like wasting time. Anti-Semites love to play with words, etc., etc. Why the fuck are you arguing religion? We've settled this conversation. Religion is bad. Move on. Your average Joe, like, you think I'm going to debate you on the good of religion? Like, I'll just ban you. I don't care. Like, zero respect. I have yet to see an anti-theist who isn't also reactionary. That's cool. I'm going to stick to my word on this one. There we go. I don't care. Do you think it's possible for debate between a correct position and a dogshit position that doesn't have the effect of platform of the dogshit position, but rather just... Yeah, but you have to, like, stack the deck, right? Debate is a horrible way of finding out whether or not any position is right or wrong. The person with, like, the zinger is the one who comes out having won in the public perception, you know? Equating it through the format of the debate is bad because they shouldn't be equal. They're not the same. It's like having a debate between a person who believes in evolutionary theory and a person who believes in creationism and framing it as though both of them are like, who won, you know? Like an epic rap battle of history or whatever. I mean, you can frame things properly, but like, again, debate is a vehicle for entertainment, nothing more. It can be effective at changing people's minds, to be sure, but it does so through the infotainment. Like, let's not pretend that, you know, you're using a process that helps people arrive at the correct conclusions by default. You know, it's not like debate. It's not like debates are like, oh, the most logical person won. So debate is all about rhetoric and proxy war. I don't know what the fuck proxy wars have to do with it, but yeah, with rhetoric for sure. Except for your debates, everyone's debates, all debates. That's how it is. We need to replace debates with Socratic dialogue. Have you ever tried employing the Socratic method while talking to somebody like a conservative? It's like, genuinely, how do these people put their clothes on in the morning? You know? Have you ever attempted this? They can't handle like one follow-up question, like any question to get them to like follow through on their beliefs or why they believe this or what. Like, they think it's a debate tactic, like asking them why they believe the things they believe. They act like you're fucking shooting their kid, you know? Yeah, exactly. You have to walk them through to their own fucking conclusions. It's crazy. I spent years in unhinged political chats and forums all to prep myself to debate literal retards who fall apart after one question. It's so boring. It is, genuinely. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's one of the reasons my opinion on the whole fucking format has soured significantly, because it's like you get into a debate and it's like, you know, in this corner, weighing 215 pounds, 6'2", you know, self-proclaimed debate lord of the left, the dirtbag leftist, Vaush, and then you've got the other guy, you've got like the 10-minute openings or whatever, and then you, like, your direct, like, engagement opening question is like, hey, why do you believe X? And they're like, a what? Straw man, pivot, don't again. You're like, wait, hold on. Why do you believe X? Like, this isn't even an argument yet. I'm just trying to ask a clarifying question. But they're so defensive that they don't even do that. Like, even asking clarifying questions where answering could benefit them, they don't do, because they're so defensive. They get evasive at any attempt to explore what they believe in, you know? It's crazy. Are those wins not valuable? Not really. I mean, they can be, like, theoretically, but I could also be valuable to just bang out a segment where I'm not having to bounce my ideas off a fucking troglodyte, you know?